Hello, and welcome to the Create a Life You Love podcast. I'm your host, Chantal Cox. My purpose is to empower and lift up others who know in their heart they're meant for more. More joy, more impact, and more passion. If you're ready to make a radical transformation and create a life that you love, then you have come to the right place. Let's do this. Welcome to today's episode of the Create a Life You Love podcast. What you are about to hear is a recap, like the cliff notes of a multi-day boot camp that we just put on. It was called the Purpose and Impact Bootcamp, and it's designed to help you figure out what your purpose is and how you can make your individual unique impact on the world, right? We've all been given gifts and talents. We've all gone through experiences that have taught us something. We all have something that we can share. And so that was the purpose of the boot camp, was to help everybody identify what that is, create a new vision, and walk into 2022 with clear action steps. And so it was many days of content. And a previous podcast episode, you got access to the masterclass that we kicked it off with. And now this is the recap that we closed it with. So again, it's like the cliff notes. And so it's going to break it down like, okay, and then on day one, we did this, and it'll give you the main points. If any of them you're like, oh my gosh, I really want to go dig into that, or, you might want to go dig into the whole thing so you get the whole picture, go to the link that I'm going to put in the show notes. All right, enjoy this episode. Hello, welcome everybody. It is the grand finale of the Purpose and Impact Bootcamp. We're going to do a big recap today. I'm very excited about it. And so whether you have seen all of the videos live or on the replays, or if you've seen zero of it, welcome. So today's going to be a lot of fun. And after hearing today's recap, there might be certain activities that you want to go back and do if you've not done them, or revisit even if you did go through the process of doing them once already. There might be certain replays that you want to go watch or rewatch. So I know that a lot of us have some time off work over the next few days. And yes, it needs to be filled with rest, relaxation, family, celebration, good food, all the things. But all the replays will remain available in this Facebook group until January 3rd. So you have plenty of time. There's abundant time for all the things that you want to accomplish. And so you have plenty of time to catch up or review anything that you would like. And if you would like to access the free workbook so that you can do the activities and get the direct links to the replay videos, I'm going to drop that in the Facebook. And for those of you on live with me in Zoom, I am dropping the link directly to the workbook since you are already registered. Now, for the bonus recap things, there's not workbook pages, just day 1 through 4. So you're not missing anything if you start scrolling through there. All right, so for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Chantal Cox. I'm an author, a speaker, a transformation neuro coach, and a certified life purpose coach. So my mission and purpose in life is to help women connect with their unique purpose and permanently remove the blocks that have been holding them back so that they can step into their full potential and live an aligned and fulfilling life of impact. So I love to open our time together with celebrations. It is so very important that we celebrate our wins, no matter how big or small, because when we celebrate, we experience a little dopamine hit, right? And then our brain starts paying attention to what we did to deserve this little party in our brains, this little feel-good moment. And so by pausing to celebrate, you build momentum and you train your brain to do more of the things that you're working towards. So, what celebrations do you have? They can be bootcamp related or not. Just tell me something good. If you are live in Zoom, you can unmute and share. If you are live on Facebook, you can type in the chat. And if you're watching the replay on Facebook, share and just use #replay. So Jean, would you like to share anything?
Hi. I think I would just like to share that I have gained so much insight to myself the last, my gosh, it feels like 5 days of your boot camp that it's just kind of helped me delve into things of my, experiences of my childhood that opened up some like aha moments
Yeah.
that affect me as an adult now that I can, learn to rewire my brain for that experience that was negative to be more positive in my present life. So I find that very interesting and I appreciate that knowledge.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much for being a part of it. You've been very consistent with your attendance and with your showing up, taking action, and sharing. And so, you know, we we get results when we do that. And so you have gotten a lot of results in a short amount of time, and you will continue to get results because you're going to continue seeking out ways to learn and grow. So,
Mhm.
very exciting. Anybody on live with us on Facebook, feel free to type in anything good that you would like to share, any celebrations, and I will kind of look back on that every now and then. Okay, so I just mentioned how Jean has done so awesome showing up, taking action, and sharing. And so there has been a show up, take action, and share contest throughout our time together because, like I said, I know it gets you results. I'm not doing this for, just my fun of it. I want you to get results. And so to incentivize you, we did that activity. And on Thursday, there were three winners announced, and then the points were reset. And so tonight's winner gets a 60-minute one on one call. And let me refresh over here to see if anybody else has done a feedback survey. So, Jean, you're the only one so far to fill out the feedback survey in time for the prize. So, you win a 60-minute one on one call. Which is very exciting because I think on Thursday you won 60-minute as well. And so that is awesome. That's really going to help you get some momentum and figure out, where is it that you want to start gathering information from and building some consistent momentum with. So, congratulations to all of the winners. I will be in contact with each of you to schedule the calls that you've won and to make sure I have your address so I can mail you a signed copy of my book. Okay, so you have taken in so much information this boot camp, right? You really rolled up your sleeves to do the work so that you can step into 2022 with a clear vision and an action plan for how you're going to carry that out. And we kicked off the boot camp with a bonus pre-bootcamp masterclass. And I titled that Foundations of Success because it's really foundational to your success in the boot camp as well as life. So we learned that from the time we're children, we're receiving messages from our environment, and our brains are designed to do two main things with the messages that it's constantly receiving. First, our brain is designed to be highly efficient, which means it automates messages that it receives over and over again. And those automated thoughts get tied to emotions and over time begin to form our beliefs and identity, which guide our decisions, which guide our actions, which get us our results, right? And so our brain is also designed to keep us safe. So we talked about how back in the caveman days, when they left the cave, they were vulnerable to predators. So we have the fight, flight, or freeze, just automated survival response in our heads, except for we're not leaving caves, right? We're leaving our comfort zones. We're trying to adopt new habits and routines. And our brain sees it as unfamiliar and therefore classifies it as unsafe. So, in order to keep you safe, it puts up roadblocks. And this often looks like procrastination, perfectionism, and shiny object syndrome. And our brain does not discriminate between if what the new thing you're wanting to do is good for you or bad for you. It just sees it as a threat. So, when you want to adopt a healthy habit, but it's new, your brain sends automated thoughts like, oh, I'm just too tired today. I'll start tomorrow. Or I'm just not quite ready yet. Let me do this, this, and this first. Or, oh, I don't have time for that right now. Let me go do this instead. So I started the bootcamp with this bonus content because I knew that throughout the bootcamp, you were going to be doing new things and envisioning what amazing new and unfamiliar things that you want to accomplish in 2022. So you were invited to begin noticing and writing down those thoughts so that you could be aware of what's going on. And then we learned what to do with them in the post-bootcamp masterclass in order to let go of your limitations. And that's the content we'll kind of wrap up with later today. So we specifically addressed that the purpose of the noticing and writing down these automated thoughts and these limiting beliefs is to come at it with a curious mind and think, oh, well, isn't that interesting, right? We're not judging them. We're not assigning meaning to them. They're not good or bad. They're not right or wrong. This activity was not the time to start proving or disproving them. And we pointed out it needed to be in the exact words that you used because those are the automated thoughts. So we want to target those. So that was the pre-bootcamp masterclass. We really hit the ground running with some pretty intense content to set you up. So then we dive into day one. And we started off by exploring your passions and your interests from both childhood and adulthood. While in search of your purpose, it's very important to look for the insights or to look for the things that really light you up. So you can gain powerful insights into your natural passions and interests by reflecting on what you were inspired by as a child. And this is because when we're children, those automated thoughts and limiting beliefs we just talked about, they're not fully in place yet. And so we do things that bring us joy just for the simple fact that it brings us joy. And then as we grow into adulthood, we're told that some of those things aren't practical or realistic, and so we stop doing them. So in day one, we walked through some guiding questions to help us remember what it is that we like to do as a kid and what we currently like to do as an adult. And we reflected on if there was anything that we wanted to begin incorporating into our adult lives. So any questions and activities that we did days 1 through 4, those questions are all outlined in the workbook. And I invite you to look them over, reflect on them, and see what comes up for you. So after we looked at our passions and interests as a child and adult, then we switched gears slightly. And we began to look at what talents and skills that you have. And again, those questions are all outlined in the workbook, but here are some tips that we went over during that session that will be helpful to you as you process them. So the first tip was just because you're not currently good at something doesn't mean that it cannot be part of your purpose, right? You can learn new things. You can do hard things. And then on the flip side of that, just because you are good at something, like just really have a natural talent for something, doesn't mean that it has to be part of your purpose, right? If you're not passionate about it, if it doesn't light you up, you can just celebrate that I'm really naturally good at this, but it doesn't mean you have to build your life around it, right? So it is very common for us to not recognize what it is that we're good at because we're just so used to it and it just seems natural, and you don't even realize that what you're good at is actually hard for other people. And so think about over your life, what are the things that people have told you that you're really good at? What are those people, what are they coming to you for help with? And it might be a really helpful activity to ask a safe and trusted person in your life what they think you're good at. So that was day 1. And the reflection that was done on day 1 led us very nicely into day 2. Where we looked at your unique life-changing experiences that have shaped you into who you are today. And we began to reflect on how life has happened for us, not to us. And we addressed that many of us have experienced trauma in our lives, and that the intent of the activity was not to start digging deep into those things or trying to process them or heal. But I felt it was important to address that if something starts coming up for you that you thought you had healed from, or that you've not already had a chance to work through with therapy, then that might be a really nice step that you want to consider. So, the intention of the activity is to help us try to begin finding meaning and to ask yourself how these negative events have led to or could possibly lead to positive outcomes, right? We want to find the purpose of the pain. And so oftentimes these really difficult life experiences, they can end up being our biggest factors in determining your purpose. But that's not the case for everyone. But if you did have traumatic experiences in your life, you can ask yourself how you might use what happened and what you learned in order to help others to do something meaningful in the world. So this is potentially a way that you're going to be able to make a difference in the world by simply being you and sharing what you've learned in the trenches of life. So, of course, the activity was not just about looking at challenges and hardships, right? We also wanted to find our good experiences that light you up. And so we started with a brain dump of all the major life experiences and turning points in your life. And then we took that brain dump and added some structure to it, right? By putting it on a timeline and including how that experience made you feel and how it impacted you. Once the timelines were fairly put together, then you can step back and look at your timeline as a whole. And you can begin to view it more objectively. So you're looking for patterns or a series of experiences that have led you along toward where you are today. And understanding this, you may notice that your life has been leading you towards something. So when doing this activity, I want you to think about a movie that you've watched and you somehow knew what was going to happen before it happened. Well, when you're able to look at your own timeline objectively and remove the emotions from it, it's similar to that. So you look at your timeline, emotionally unattached, objective, and just try to observe and notice and be curious about the plot of the story. You might be able to begin to see where it's going. So your unique experiences, your turning points, and your pivotal moments, they have brought you to who and where you are today, to this perfect place, to this launching point where you are perfectly poised to continue forward in the direction of everything that you were meant for. So then we moved into day 3. Let me take a quick drink of water here. So on day 3, we reflected on everything we'd done so far and began to put those pieces of the puzzle together. So knowing the tools and the gifts that you have been given and seeing that everything you've been through added meaning to your life empowers you to make the rest of your life's journey an exciting quest to fulfill your purpose. So if you imagine you're watching your life as a movie playing out and it's just a fictional character and you're not emotionally attached to, what would you say is the point of your life? What is your mission? What have you been in training for? So I want to pause for a moment and open the floor to either those of you live with us on Facebook, those of you live with us on Zoom. From what you just heard now, or from the work that you've been doing so far, from the pre-bootcamp masterclass, days 1, 2, and 3, what's really standing out for you? And so, Jean, you added something in the chat here on Zoom. Would you unmute and share? I love it.
So, thinking about the year coming up, 2022, I've selected some words that I feel have energy. Like one is determined, I think another one I added was manifestation. Um, there might have been health, I don't recall. But then pivot really speaks to me. So, when we hit those roadblocks, there's always another way around it, which might even be more interesting than the direct route, so pivot, just nothing goes in a straight line. And just for me to accept that and not let it overwhelm me at the moment. It's just a thing.
Mm. I love that you're able to reframe it, that, the pivot could lead to something better and make life more interesting. And yeah, you don't have to see it as a big, terrible thing, right? You can start thinking about it as like, well, this is an interesting turn of events. I wonder where it's going to lead me, right?
Right.
Awesome.
And if we're open to other possibilities, I mean, who knows what could come our way? Just have an
Exactly.
open mindset and heart about it.
Exactly. And you've experienced so much of that in the short time that you've been working on things like this. Um, yeah, so it's really exciting. I'm excited to watch your journey unfold and see what else comes. It's just like flowing to you.
Yeah, thank you. I am too. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Mhm.
Yes, thank you. All right. Um, so day 4, we looked forward. So right, day what 1 and 2 and 3 was really about like looking back. Day 4 is all about looking forward and creating a strong emotionally charged vision. And we talked about how it's really important that we tap into the emotional parts of our brain because we often make decisions based on emotion. And so I used an example that, like, you logically know that you need to work out, and you logically know the benefits of what happens when you do, and you logically know what happens over time if you do not. So you set yourself up for success and you do logical actions. You might set out your clothes the night before. You set an alarm. You go to bed at a decent time. But on a cold December dark morning, when that alarm goes off at 5 a.m., what do you end up sometimes saying? It's like, ugh, I just don't feel like it, right? That emotion can take over from the logical that we've put in place. So, yes, we need those logical supports put into place. But if we don't have the strong emotional why that is pulling us towards our vision, then we're just relying strictly on our willpower to push this giant boulder up a hill. Eventually, you're going to get tired. Your it's a tongue twister. Your willpower will fail you. And that boulder is going to roll down the hill and crush you. And isn't it just an easier feeling? Like if you imagine like being pulled up a hill versus trying to push a boulder up a hill, like which one would you rather do, right? So if you do not know your strong emotionally charged why for anything you're working on in your life, I highly recommend that you go watch the first half of this replay for day 4 and that you do the 7 Whys Deep activity in the workbook. So I was first introduced to this activity by Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. It is a very powerful tool that has provided myself and my clients with so much clarity and insight. And day 4, it was a long one. So in the future, it will not all be on one day. That will get split up. But after knowing your why, then we move into mapping out a vision action plan. And so to make your vision a reality, it's going to take action. If you want something different, you're going to have to do something different. And you now know that repeated messages become automated, and you get to be the gatekeeper of your mind. So really think about what you're exposing yourself to, because it is creating new neural pathways that you may or may not want there. So ask yourself, what am I reading? What am I listening to? What am I watching? Are they aligned with my vision? How do I feel after exposing myself to it? Is it igniting feelings of hope and possibility? Or is it evoking fear and anxiety? So you're thinking about what you're putting in and exposing yourself to. Then think about your surroundings, your environment. So your physical space, how does it make you feel when you walk into it? And physical clutter can drain our cognitive resources, and it reduces our ability to focus. And our brains are very visual. So as you're moving around your environment, by able to see something like a vision board, a goal board, whatever you want to call it, if you're walking past it frequently, even if you don't stop and look at it, your subconscious knows it's there, your subconscious knows what's on it, and you're automating that message. Then we want to look at who is in your environment. So you're probably familiar with the Jim Rohn quote that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So think about and be very intentional about who are your 5. Do they support you in your vision? Are they contributing to you, and vice versa? Are you contributing to them? So I tell my clients that it's not important to only carefully choose your 5, but that somewhere in your life you want 3 types of people as well. So you want someone ahead of you who can help lead you and guide you, right? There's no reason to go it on your own or reinvent the wheel. And then you need people at a similar level as you. They don't have to have the same vision or be working on the same goal, but are they working on themselves at a similar pace and intentionality as you're working on yourself and your goals? Because you're going to get it, right? You're going to be able to support each other and be there and push each other and hold each other accountable. The third type of person that you want in your life is you need someone that's further behind you on your journey. So no matter where you are further ahead than someone in some way. So how are you reaching back, extending a hand and saying, come on, you got this. I'm here to help, right? You can be the light at the end of someone's tunnel. So we've kind of looked at all kinds of things. What are we putting in? Who are we around? What's around us? What's our physical space? We also want to consider your daily habits and routines. Are they aligned with your vision? Meaning, would the future you do that activity? Would they have that thought? Would they do that action? And then consider what habits and routines that you're probably going to need to adopt. So what actions does the future you take? What thoughts does the future you think? Who is the future you hanging out with? So start putting things into your daily habits and routine that align with the future you. And I recommend starting where you are. Start small. Pick one thing, commit to it, and habit stack it. And what that means is find something in your day that you already do that's already a habit and just add to it, rather than creating a whole new routine and a whole new list of unfamiliar things that your brain is going to fight you against. If you habit stack it, it reduces some of that tension. And then be really mindful that you are always growing and you are always evolving. And your unique journey is just that. It is your unique journey. So don't compare yourself to anyone else. And don't worry about where they are on their journey and where you are on your journey. Because you don't have the same milestones. You don't have the same destination. Okay? Focus on you. Celebrate your wins. And ask yourself, what's the next smallest step that gets me moving towards my vision? If you're like, just take action. If you're going to fail, fail forward, is what my book coach used to tell me, right? And he used to also say, done is better than perfect, right? If you are taking action, it can be messy, imperfect action, but you're taking action, celebrate that. So then that brings us to the post Bootcamp Masterclass that was titled Letting Go of Your Limitations. So if you remember at the beginning of this video, we talked about how the brain works and that you are going to notice and write down limiting beliefs and automated thoughts as you work through these bootcamp activities. And so you're going to look at what you've collected, what you've written down, and begin to look at digging deeper. Like, what is the underlying message of that underlying thought? Because they're going to come down to, am I safe? Am I loved? Am I enough? So safe might be like, well, what if I fail? Loved, how are others going to view this and view me? Are they still going to accept me? Enough, am I worthy of this? Do I deserve this? Who am I to do this thing that I'm creating in this vision, right? So your words are going to say all kinds of things, but they're going to come back down to safe, loved, and enough. So the process that I introduced in this masterclass was developed by my mentor, Dr. Shannon Ravon. She has her PhD in neuropsychology, and she used what she learned through her extensive studies in order to create the neuro coaching method. So this method is simple, it is brain-based, it is science-backed, and it is a process that high achievers, millionaires, and even Olympic athletes use in their day-to-day lives. I'm sorry, I kind of live by the, if you want what successful people have, you do what successful people do, right? So that's enough for me to at least pay attention and see if it's something I wanted to adopt. So luckily for me, I was blessed enough to have had the opportunity to study directly under Dr. Shannon, and I learned this method, and I use it with myself and my clients so that you can identify and remove the blocks that are holding you back from living the life of your dreams. So I want you to take a piece of paper, and I'm going to drop this in the chat on Zoom and Facebook so that you have a visual. But one of the beginning pieces of Dr. Shannon's neurocoaching method, we call StubBDar, or sometimes StubbyDar. And basically, it's that all situations are neutral, but then we have a thought, and right after the thought comes an emotion. So let's look at if all situations, events, circumstances are neutral. So if it's raining outside, right? That's not good, bad, that's not right, wrong. It's just a fact. It is raining outside. But due to your past repeated messages that your brain has received and automated, when you see it as raining, some type of thought and emotion comes into play. So it could be something like, oh, look, it's raining. That's going to be great for my plants. Woohoo, right? Or it could be, oh, look, it's raining. So now my hair is going to get all frizzed up. Awesome. Two people with two different automated thoughts viewing the same neutral situation. And that thought guides your emotion. And then right after that, when you have your repeated thoughts and emotions, they become automated and they make up your belief system and ultimately your identity. So rain is kind of, a silly, kind of superficial example. But if you've repeatedly thought or felt that you are good and capable at something, then you're going to believe that you are. And then you're going to act like you are. And you're going to have the decisions, actions, and results of, I'm good at this. I can do this. But if you've repeatedly thought or felt that you were bad at something, that you were not worthy of it, that it was hard, then if you believe, then you're going to believe that that's true. Those beliefs guide your decisions. Your decisions guide your actions or inaction sometimes, and your action or inaction leads to results. So if you don't like any result that you currently have in your life, whether that's your health, your career, your financial situation, I know a lot of people that join the boot camp, you run your own business, you are maybe a coach. And so maybe if you don't have the amount of clients that you want, or your business isn't making the kind of income that you would like to see, we need to work back up. So we've identified this is not the result that we want, but a lot of times all we do is look at the action. Okay, what actions do I need to take to get the result that I want? What strategy do I need to do, right? So we get stuck. I'm in the coaching world a lot. So am I going to spend time on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or a podcast or write a book or, there's all these things. And then I get stuck in the action. And so then I don't have the result that I want. So I need to go up further. What's the decision that I'm going to make? Well, it's going to be based off my belief and identity. If I don't feel that I'm worthy of success, that I have enough value to bring to the table, that, I'm an educator, so teachers don't make a lot of money. That belief is guiding my decisions, action, results. As long as I'm not aware of that and I keep operating under that belief, I will never make a lot of money. It's just how our brain works. So anywhere you don't like the result, you've got to go back up. You've got to change the thought. You've got to target the thought. So how do we do that? Throughout the boot camp, you did steps 1 and 2. You noticed and wrote down. So now you get to determine which of those thoughts are keeping you from your desired results. And you're going to write the thought down in your own words, the words that came into your head, in your voice. So you're going to write down the thought, and then you're going to argue against it in 2 ways, logically and emotionally. So logic, you can do things like look at past evidence, right? So just using the one that I just used because it's the freshest. Do no educators make a lot of money? So is that true? Well, no. There are people who do different things with their careers, or bring in side income, or marry really well. I don't know. But not all educators have no money and are poor and are struggling. Okay, that was a belief. And so we're arguing against it. And then we can use past evidence. Has there been a time in my life where I did have abundant money, where money was coming easily to me and effortlessly? So you logically argue against your belief. And then we're going to tie in the emotions. And so we do that by pretending that someone that we care deeply for is in front of us. So you can just imagine their face, or you can get a picture and look at them. It might be a child, a partner, a best friend, something, just someone really important to you. And you are going to say out loud those awful things that you have said to yourself so many times that they've become automated. So you're going to say out loud to my 7-year-old niece's picture that she's not worthy of making money, right? She's not worthy of going after her dreams. Who does she think she is? And those emotions kick in. And Mama Bear comes out, or in my case, Aunt Awesome comes out, right? And we start arguing against that and be like, oh, heck no. She is worthy of anything she wants. She can do anything she sets her mind to. She will find a way. She's a problem solver. She's resilient. Just all the things. And so after you've gone through it emotionally and you go back through that list, that's why it's called mirror, because everything that was true for that person is also true for you. So every she you replace with I, and you start reading that list. Oh, I am worthy of success. I am worthy of financial freedom. I have value to provide. Whatever your list was. So you've written down these past automated beliefs that for the most part are untrue and lies, right? And now you've created these new truths. As you read through this list, this could be one page or multiple pages, right? As you read through there, there's going to be similarities. So you can kind of categorize, and you're going to take them and make what's called a brain priming statement. So you may be familiar with affirmations. A lot of the same principles apply, but affirmations are general I am statements typically, whereas the brain priming, you are targeting your own automated beliefs in your own words. So when you write the brain priming statement, it needs to be written in the present tense. It is already your reality. You already have it. It's not, I will make money. I will do whatever. It's, I am financially free. I have abundant money. Money easily comes to me. Or I am healthy. I live an active lifestyle. I make healthy choices. It needs to evoke emotion. So that's where you bring in your why that you did earlier. And then you're going to really visualize. Who's there with you? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? When you've accomplished this thing, who did you call? How did you celebrate? What are you wearing? What are the emotions that you feel? Because your brain cannot tell the difference between a really strong emotional visualization and reality. So there are brain scans that show if you shoot a basketball physically, or you really strongly intentionally visualize shooting a basketball, the same parts of your brain light up. So remember back to anything unfamiliar is deemed unsafe. The more we visualize it, the more familiar it becomes, and then our brain is like, yeah, you already have abundant money and abundant time and all the things that you want and financial freedom, and you live on a beach and like all the things. So why are you like making it so difficult? Like, it's already happened. So just go do the thing, right? So then your decisions, actions become easier, and then you get your results. So, there is a common understanding or thought that it takes 28 days to build a habit. That is partially true. What is happening in your brain is you have these automated thoughts, right? And so they're maybe at like this level. And you want to create this new thought, and it's only like gone through your brain a couple times. So it's not automated. Your brain's kind of ignoring it. The more times you repeat it, at about 28 days, the old and the new are about even. So if at 28 days you say, woohoo, I did it, and you stop, that old one's still there. And so it can take root again. But if you keep going for 60 to 67 days, the new one becomes automated. And that old one, it's not being used anymore. You're not entertaining that thought. And so it just goes away. It gets completely removed from your brain. And it sounds crazy. But I look back at the first time I did this activity and I read the thoughts that were automated back then. And I am not the same person. Those thoughts no longer exist in my head. I remember thinking and feeling them. It's in my handwriting. I remember writing it down. I remember doing the work around it. But it's gone. It's just words that I'm hearing that if I choose to start automating again, that would be terrible. I'm not doing that. I don't recommend you do that either. Okay, Let's do a quick check-in. Vanessa, thanks so much for joining us live on Facebook. She said, that's so funny because when it rains, I think, yay, it washes away all the allergies in the air, even if it makes my whole body hurt. It's the lesser of the two evils. Yeah. So you've got some automated thoughts and emotions based on your experiences, right? Yeah, that's awesome. And then she says, so, so true. And that she loves me. I love you too, cousin. Jean with me here on Zoom says that she loves that, Vanessa. So awesome. Jean, what's coming up for you? I know you've already done some of the work and activities. So as you think about your future, like what really becomes possible for you when you're doing this work?
I think just the belief in myself with the I am statements, that when we take away the limiting beliefs, that we are, capable of so much that more than is on the surface.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I've caught myself, through the last 5 days, 6 days, being more aware of my thoughts and catching limiting beliefs, and then refocusing or reframing that to a different perspective, putting it in a more positive light. It really helps when you do that, generally, or in your head and your heart, it really, changes the perspective of how you see things.
Love that. And I love how in such a short amount of time you're noticing a difference, right? You understand it's a process and it's a journey and it doesn't completely become automated overnight, but you're already seeing your awareness expand and how it is bringing positive things in your life. It's awesome. And that shows that you're actually doing the work, right? You know, just sign up for a free virtual boot camp and do nothing with it other than receive a ton of emails from some crazy person named Chantal.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
you're crazy in a great way, though. um, yeah, and then it kind of reveals a connection to, some things that I grew up in my childhood that are pretty deep within my being. And then I hear myself say things, and then I'm able to have that aha moment and connect it. Oh my gosh, I was programmed with this poster that was in my room all the time that kind of, had emotional attachment to it, of the text of what it said. And now I think to myself, it really is true, especially what you said about the vision board. Even if you're not standing there focusing and reading affirmation statements or studying what your pictures are, your vision pictures of what you're doing, just a glance at something is over a repetitive, amount of time, just becomes ingrained in you. And as a teacher myself, that I would put up things in my classroom knowing that incidental learning is going to occur. And even though I'm not teaching a lesson on it, pretty soon that student will show they have knowledge of that and a skill they're practicing. So it is really interesting and important, even, for those littles out there, young parents, that to remember to focus on that positive for their children as they're growing up, because then those are the beliefs they're going to gain as they get older.
Yeah, I love that. Such good insight. Um, welcome. I know I'm going to mispronounce your name. How do you tell me how you say your name?
Ravon.
Ravon. Okay. So welcome, Ravon. So glad that you were able to join us live on Zoom
Hi,
today.
sorry I'm so late.
You are perfect. We show up as we are when we get here. It was your perfect timing to pop in. Okay. So, I kind of just recapped all the things, and then we were kind of talking about, what's coming up for you, what becomes possible for you as you start doing some of this work. And so, Ravon, have you had a chance to watch any of the replays or do any of the work yet? I think you said
Yes, I've had a
yeah.
chance to watch some of the replays, not all of them.
Awesome. Good for you. That's amazing. And so, any insights coming up for you yet, or like beginning to get a vision of things that are possible for you that you never thought were before?
I guess I haven't really identified any, I guess, new opportunities that I haven't previously thought of before. It's really just more so making sure that I'm not allowing myself to get in my own way
Mm,
and allowing thoughts of what's happened in the past, maybe when things didn't work out the way I wanted to deter me from putting the effort in and continuing and believing that things are still possible, not letting that um, turn my outlook negative, basically.
yeah, absolutely. And even just recognizing like this is a perspective, and I have the power to shift my perspective, right?
Hmm.
So, yeah, I love that. That's a really deep insight. Thank you for sharing.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Awesome. Looking at the Facebook chat, I don't see anything fresh and new in here. Um, so I'm looking at the time, and I just really, really want to thank everybody so much for being a part of this boot camp. It just means a lot to me to see the growth, see the insights. And so, just really from the bottom of my heart, thank you for going on this journey with me. Whether you're live or the replays, just, yeah, reach out. Let me know how you're doing. I do plan to revamp the boot camp, and my goal is to end up putting it on multiple times a year. And so I hope you will join me again in the future because it's going to evolve as I evolve, right? And your vision will evolve as well. So if you did all the activities and you feel really good about your vision action plan now, in 90 days, hopefully you've leveled up and you're a new person and you're ready to expand that vision. And so that's going to be really fun to watch. And Jude says, thank you, Chantal, for sharing so much cool information. Thank you for being a part of it. Um, so, reminder, you have access to the replays through January 3rd. You have the workbook. You have all the how to in order to be successful and accomplish anything you desire and go make the impact that you are destined to make. And I would really appreciate your feedback. Um, I already have a lot of ideas that I'm going to debrief with my coach tomorrow, but I really welcome your insights because it's honestly going to help me improve it. Because I know from my perspective, where I'm like, ooh, I'm not in love with that, but from your perspective, what do you see? So, registered participants, I did send you out a survey link, and so I appreciate those of you who have taken it already. I don't know, Vanessa, I'm needing some of that rain that washes away the allergies you mentioned earlier. Excuse me. Okay. So, my goal is to keep improving it because I truly believe that you have a unique purpose and that you have the ability to make a positive impact in the world. And I know that until you can begin to really understand and implement the foundational principles that have been taught throughout this boot camp, you're going to be playing smaller and safer than what you were meant to play. And that ultimately is going to limit your impact. And there are people out there waiting for you. They're waiting for your voice. They're waiting for your perspective. They're waiting for your unique ability to reach them in a way that only you can. I know some of you in the boot camp are coaches, some are building your own service-based business, some want to inspire others through things like writing a book or starting a podcast, becoming a speaker, or just having the confidence to share their story, if somebody in their life would benefit from it. If a coworker goes through something similar, a person at the store, just being able to step into that. So most of us deep down, we really also just want to make that internal impact and really get our own transformation and continue growing in our own lives. And that's beautiful, because here's what I know. Transform people, transform people. So no matter where you are on your journey, what experiences you've had, what your limiting beliefs are, the neuro coaching method that we just went over, it's going to help you identify and remove the lies that are holding you back from reaching your biggest goals and dreams. Here's my challenge to anybody who feels behind on the content or maybe hasn't watched any of them. If you do nothing else, by January 3rd, watch the pre and post boot camp that walk you through the neuro coaching method. Days 1 through 4 are amazing, especially if you don't know your purpose yet, if you don't know how you're going to make an impact in the world, if you don't have a clear vision and action plan. But those pre and post boot camps set you up for anything in your life that you want to accomplish, and removing those blocks. And so the process that's taught and outlined in there, it's super simple. Anyone can do it. We're teaching it in schools, which is super exciting to me as an educator. But because it's new and uncomfortable, most of us don't make it to the 67-day mark on our own, right? Because our brains are really good at their jobs, and they're good at keeping us stuck in the safety and familiarity of our comfort zones. And so that's why we're kicking off the Create a Life You Love roadmap, going strong, January 3rd. It's the 12-month high-touch coaching program that's going to allow you to take your vision action plan that you've been creating and make it your reality, with the support and guidance of myself and a mastermind community of other passionate women. So you're going to look at your life holistically and dig deeper into many of the principles that we touched on during the boot camp. And you'll continue defining and working on your vision. You'll be guided and supported as you rewire your mind for success. You'll learn how to begin implementing the daily habits and routines of your future self, and really step into that life that you've been dreaming of. So this program is modeled after the mini coaching programs that I have been through that have gotten me to where I'm at today, living in my purpose, in alignment, and making the unique impact that I was created for. So I am tailoring this experience to help you do the same. A couple of the key elements are accountability is huge, because that's how you're going to continually progress. So last night, many of you got to experience the driver's seat coaching call, and that's going to happen every Monday evening. And that is a huge core piece of the program, because that is where so much growth and magic happens. Then each quarter, you're going to go through the process of recalibrating by pausing, reviewing your goal and plan, and getting clarity on your next step through a one-on-one coaching session with myself or my co-coach, who's also a master certified neuro coach. And she's also an RRT tapping practitioner, so she's going to bring that to the table. So during this boot camp, I tried something new, the connection and discussion times. It's been so much fun. And so we're going to keep those going strong and really build that connected community. And so it's going to just really help you begin with the end in mind, work holistically on your vision, your mind, your body, your life, and ultimately your impact. And you're going to be tackling those limiting beliefs, and you're going to be surrounded by a community of women who are right there with you, ready to transform themselves and others. So through tomorrow night, there are a couple of fast action bootcamp bonuses. You get the opportunity to extend your access to the bootcamp replays beyond January 3rd. You also unlock 2 additional one-on-one calls. So as part of the basic, you get 4, so 1 per quarter. So adding 2, now you get 1 every other month for a total of 6. So that's going to really help you stay on track. And you also will lock in a special bootcamp rate. So if this is not the right fit for you, no problem at all, because one of my other superpowers is connecting people to resources and other people that meet you where you are on your journey. So if you are sitting there and you're like, I'm ready for a roadmap to success, I'm done trying to do it on my own, I'm ready to give up the struggle, I'm ready to say yes to myself, then I invite you to come join us. And so I'm going to drop that link for anybody who would like additional information in both the Facebook and the Zoom. And as you're looking through that, I would love to jump on a call and, sorry, let me get this all copy pasted. But I'd love to jump on a call, answer any questions that you may have. And so whether you're interested in the roadmap program or not, all registered participants get access to an Impact Action Plan call. And some of you have already had your call and some have not. But even if you've already had your call, you've now grown because you've learned more of the content. And so I invite you to book another call and we can process and get your Impact Action Plan ready for you to kick off 2022. So because it is the holidays and I am not working tomorrow, I've opened several spots for tomorrow in case you have questions and you want to lock in the bootcamp bonuses before they expire tomorrow at midnight. And so that link is there. And I just also want to be completely authentic and upfront that if your brain has automated thoughts that are saying, oh, booking this call is weird, or oh, gross, it's going to be salesy, let me go ahead and let you know that I am a teacher, I am a coach, and I am a connector. I'm not a salesperson. And even if I tried to do it, like it would just come off gross and weird. And so these calls are for you and they are about you. I feel strongly that it's my purpose and my role to provide opportunities for growth and transformation. And I do that through the free boot camps, through the podcast, through my book, and then now also through this group coaching program. So I'm not going to sell it to you because it's not my role to convince you, to beg you, or to sell you on it, right? My mission is to serve you. And I would love to help you identify the limiting beliefs that are holding you back so that you can assess them and decide if they are beliefs that you would like to hold on to or not. So I really look forward to connecting with people on the calls, whether we've already connected or not. Go ahead and book your call. And if you're watching the replay and this is the first you're hearing about it, go register and book your call. I'm going to be taking them. And so my goal is to really help as many people enter 2022 with a clear vision and action plan. And whether that looks like joining the boot camp or not, that's not a priority for me. My priority for you is having your next action step. Okay, I hope that you gained so much value from that, and please go check out the link if you want any more information about, depending on when you watch this, watching the old replays, or this is going to be evolving and done every 8 weeks or so. So there will always be information on that page to either watch the replays, get on the wait list, or jump in if it's going on right then. So no matter when you're listening, go check out the link, and that will also direct you to the Create a Life You Love Roadmap program if that is something you are interested in. Anybody at any time, I do complimentary 30-minute calls, so feel free to reach out, get some clarity, get an action step, whether it's bootcamp related or not. Just if you need clarity on something and you want to connect, I'm here. That's what I want to do, right? That's my purpose. All right. I am going to wrap this episode up and have a beautiful day. Enjoy the journey. Thank you for listening to the Create a Life You Love podcast. I would love to hear from you about your biggest takeaways. Share them with me on Facebook or Instagram at Create a Life You Love Coaching. If you love this podcast, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. That's it for now. Enjoy the journey.